Hey there, welcome to this edition of Office Hours. Today we will be talking about our resume magic. Office Hours, if you're not familiar, is our 1 hour of self development check in where we can talk a bit about topics that will help you get hired and stay employable in the cannabis industry. So, today we're talking about resume magic. Puff, puff, pass your way to the perfect cannabis job. So, tune in. If you are familiar with our organization, Explore Maryland Cannabis, we welcome you back. But if this is your first time, welcome. Hi, from Explore Maryland Cannabis. I am the esteemed CEO and founder of this organization, and I'm happy to produce and present this information to you today. So, a bit about who we are. Explore Maryland Cannabis is a community membership and outreach organization. We are dedicated to sticking to our roots. We believe in the power of community, and we want to make sure that we stay tapped in. So, a bit about what we do. We provide pathways to the ecosystem through education and access. Those two pathways are our small business and workforce. But today we are strictly talking about workforce. And I'm excited to bring you all the offerings that we have as it relates to this topic. So, if you're looking to stay connected with us, you can take a class similar to the ones that we offer monthly. You can attend an event or you can share us with your fam. We would love to be able to be your connection to the cannabis ecosystem. And you can tap in with us via our values. Just want to point out that we put our values first and foremost. At our core, we foster genuine connections within our community. We believe and ensure that inclusivity by being visible to all. There are no gatekeepers, there are no walls here. Our initiatives are transparent and open to all who wish to engage. So there's no rose-colored glasses. You know exactly what you're tapping into. And we wholeheartedly embrace and take ownership of our ecosystem because we know that cannabis brings us together. So ways you can stay connected with us is our weekly email newsletter, through our monthly trainings, or just signing up via our website. We would love to welcome you into our community. So let's talk a bit about our pathways. I mentioned that the two that we focus on are workforce and small business. Today we're talking about workforce, and specifically we're talking about resume magic. So, question. My resume is not catching any leads. What can I do? I'll tell you this. You definitely want to make sure that you stay tuned in. This is where our presentation starts, folks. So if you're ready, go ahead, grab your notebook, grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, your phone, type it into your iPad, scribble it down, pitching it out, because I want to make sure that you get all the gems today. So I'm going to go ahead and run it down for you. So, again, if you happen to have just been catching up, we are talking a bit about our resume, how we can get to the front of the pile, and we're going to use this particular resume as a guide and a way for us to follow and mimic some of the ways that might help us. Okay? So, shout out to Riley Ashford for putting your resume on the internet. And let's talk a bit about tailoring your resume. So, do you happen to have relevant experience, right? Did you happen to work in retail or in healthcare or even agriculture? There are different ways that you can tailor your resume using those skill sets through something we like to call transferable skills, right? So, our transferable skills are our customer service skills, our sales skills, and our compliance skills, which are available in a lot of different avenues and roles prior to you coming to the cannabis industry. Now, we talked about your relevant experience, tailoring your resume to that. Let's talk about how you showcase those. Shout out to my good friend here over at one of our bartenders at G Leaf, and also to the creators of this packaging forevermore. So, if you happen to have marketing or actual experience on the sales floor, this would be the way for you to showcase your skills, laying that out plainly in black and white in ways that the person who is reading your resume will understand once they get it to the front of their desk. Now, Riley is back. Let's talk a bit about this resume, why it is important, and what are some ways that you can utilize some of the tips here to take your resume to the top of the pile. So, first things first, we have got the work experience front and center. We also we've got the work experience here front and center. We also have a title that allows individuals to understand what exactly this person is doing so that there's no miscommunication, especially if they're hiring for multiple roles, right? So you want to use industry specific keywords, specifically from your job descriptions. So if you happen to have customer service skill, if you happen to have done forecasting, if you happen to work in agriculture or in some type of compliant role, use those keywords similar to some that are here. Let me see if I can increase that so you can actually see it. That's on me. All right. Just running down this resume here, you can see that Riley has that title front and center and also the LinkedIn profile because you want to be able to showcase what you're doing on a professional environment. We'll talk a bit more about LinkedIn later. But the great thing about this resume is that it is clean. You don't necessarily have anything that may distract the person who was reading it, and the experience is laid out perfectly. So, for example, their most recent position was a bud tender at Greenleaf Dispensary. They've been there, or they currently are there from 2018 until now. So, listing out your title, listing out the company, the date, and the location also helps when it comes to the person who's looking at your resume knowing how familiar you are with an area. It also helps with them understanding how much experience you have, right? 2018 to 2024 is a very long time in cannabis. There are multiple things that you could have done. For example, Riley assisted an average of 53 customers daily with personalized recommendations, resulting in a 26 increase in average transaction value. So there's a lot of different ways that that experience was broken down based on numbers. We don't have a simple formula for us to pull, but you know that if you understand how many customers that you serve, it'll be a lot easier to be able to break down those numbers and showcase that you have that skill set. Now, if you don't happen to work in a cannabis plant touching facility, let's say, for instance, you work at a local drugstore or a local convenience store, a local dress shop, you can use that same data based on how many people have entered into your shop based on your sales. And then you can start there. And over time, you can catch the increase of what your actual value is. And so I'll make sure that we have quantifying your value office hour over the summer so that we can talk a bit more about that. Cool? All right, let's go ahead and finish this. So as you can see, Riley had a few other positions laid out in the exact same way. But one thing I do really, really, really want to point out is not only just the education, right? This bachelor's of science in medicinal plant chemistry with a cannabis concentration, that is definitely something worth noting as an investment in your skill set. But also the skills here, you already know that this person comes with a cannabis background. So you have BioTrack, Leafly, Baker, all of the different skill sets that you may be looking for in a candidate, or you may be looking for a way to actually talk about these skills. They're laid out right here. So it's not something you necessarily have to worry about. Now, going back to the second point, we're going to talk about showcasing your passions and highlighting them. Now, Riley's resume, I will say, was a little bit more industry focused, but right under the skills tab is where I would recommend you add your passions. So if you happen to have a green thumb, right, that you have used in service, right, not just growing plants at home, okay, There's nothing wrong with that. But if you've grown plants for a church garden that then feeds hundreds of people through a summer season, if you've grown 100 plants in a church garden to feed 100 people, that is a relevant skill set. All right. The third tip I have for you is to switch it up depending on the job, whether it's entry level or middle management. I put mid management, but management is a mid, y'all. Y'all the MVPs. As you can see, Riley's resume, I'm just going to bring that out here. Riley's resume is more of a showcasing of the skill set that Riley has, but also is very entry level. So if you take a look at what this is versus what you're actually looking to accomplish, you'll get an idea of what to put versus like I mentioned, if it doesn't relate to the job, if you're gardening at home and it doesn't relate to an actual position, you may want to not put that on there. There are tons of places for you to get a certification or a course under your belt, so to speak. If you happen to have already gone through these programs and you know that these should be listed under your certifications, whether it's education, degrees, things like that, those are things that employers want to see. So a few that I see often as they come across my table, of course, Oaksterdam, which is the first self-proclaimed cannabis university. They are the oldest. They are probably the earliest institutions to offer some type of cannabis courses. There's also the Cannabis Training University, which is sometimes affiliated with Leafly or Weed Maps. There's Green Flower, which is also an OG that came up very quickly during the pandemic. And I would be remiss if I didn't shout out the University of Maryland School of Pharmacy, which has a Master's of Science in Medical Cannabis and Therapeutics. And they just graduated their fourth cohort, I think, fourth or fifth cohort. So a lot of great talent coming out of these programs. There's also YouTube University. I believe in the power of community gathered education. So if you're looking for ways to connect that don't necessarily have to do with you shelling out thousands of dollars currently, but you got thousands of hours to invest, go on over to YouTube. Of course, I love doing these office hours, and I like to end on a high note to remind you that your network is your net worth. Whomever you are surrounding yourself with, those are the individuals that are honestly going to provide value or pull value from you. So think about that when you think about your partnerships. Think about that when you think about your future employers. Think about that when you think about even just some of the friends that you're around, right? How much are they investing in you? How much are you investing in them? And in the end of the day, how much are y'all investing together? Because it's a community effort. There's Y'all, I'll talk about community next time. But of course, it is June. We are doing our workforce every week. Today actually happens to be Workforce Wednesday. Shout out to my Workforce Wednesday folks. We do a monthly Green Pathways workshop, but every week this month, we have been doing it around a different topic. This week has been around resumes. So we will be curating information around resumes. And, feel free to join us. Hop on our email list. There is a great way for you to stay connected with us. And next week, we are talking about career paths in the cannabis jungle. This is a bit of a replay for some, but it is a great time. So if you're looking for a pathway to the cannabis industry, and you're looking for ideas to get in, this is going to be the office hour for you. So if you happen to be catching this, someone might have shared it to you. You might not be watching it live. You might be watching it live. It might be years later. I want to thank you for tuning in. It is truly a blessing, and I'm always thankful. But I can't wait to see you all next time. And stay safe, stay high. Peace.